Hello and welcome. We're going to be talking about spiritual elements in prayer. Proverbs 15:29. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he hears the prayer of the righteous. Results of our prayer will likely be impacted by our faith, whether it be in God's righteousness or evil. If we trust in God, God's instructions, and pray as God teaches, as Jesus taught and demonstrated, we will likely have good results. When we pray, we can inwardly position ourselves with humility, willingness, sincere truth, peace, love, and all the elements of righteousness. Inwardly, we can seek guidance, encouragement, instruction, strength, and all that helps us to better do the will of God. We can take the position of a student ready to learn. These are the priorities we can seek. See Matthew 6:5-7. Superficial interest can be made secondary, less of a focus. We can seek God to better do the will of God and to grow in God's righteousness first and foremost. See Matthew 6:33. As we pray, we can evaluate our attitude, interests, thoughts, fears, demands, desires, worries, anger, self-seeking, pride, and be open for correction. Our inward attitude develops from our faith, what we believe, our perceptions. Our perceptions, beliefs, and understandings work together to form our inward response. We can pray for help with our thoughts and open our minds to be set upon God's righteousness, goodness, and grace. We can let our minds drift toward godly good. We can ponder beauty as we pray. During prayer, we can set before us the spiritual elements and bring them into our consciousness. For a copy of the spiritual elements, you can visit www.inwardauthority.com. For example, we can think about peace and how good it is. We can pray for peace and willingness, how to respond with it. The prayer of St. Francis is another example. Here is a part of the prayer. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. This prayer is about training ourselves to respond with God's righteousness. We can pray like this. Here God is being invited to help us with seeking. The truth is, if we are not willing to apply ourselves to seek to console, understand, and love, we won't. If we do not carry within us a willingness to take the action, it likely won't happen. We are not puppets. God gives us choices. We will need to choose to commit a response to do these things we pray for. The prayer can help us inwardly in many ways, but ultimately, we will need to choose to step up and respond, even when it is uncomfortable. We can always pray for strength and willingness. We can evaluate ourselves to learn how willing we are to actually let ourselves respond accordingly. Are we willing to accept the inward change we are praying for? Are we willing to apply enough concentrated effort to identify undesirable thoughts and make corrections? Or are we just going through motions, saying the prayer, and hoping it will happen without continued concentrated effort? We can learn where our needs are, whether it is strength, willingness, or understanding. We can pray for them. We can pray for help for us to better do the will of God. Whatever our situation, we continue to bring the will of God into our consciousness. We pray for direction and guidance. If there is conviction, we learn from it. We ought to see our next steps of correction and improvement. Jesus applied an extreme focus with God, enduring temptation, fear, pain, desires, etc. Jesus exemplified persisting to stay with the elements of righteousness, as did the apostles. Christians are to follow their examples with a measurable direction of improvement. Paul spoke to churches with corrective actions to take. Every book in the New Testament describes corrective action. We are to pray for it, meditate upon it, learn it, think it, talk about it, practice it, train in it, teach it, and demonstrate it. We are to walk in it and live it. This process involves a lot, but if we practice it every day, it can grow quickly. If we respond to it daily, we will quickly feel its effects. If we are able to commit, submit, trust God, endure, and persevere in growing the elements of righteousness inwardly and outwardly, we can learn a sense of fulfillment and contentment that is priceless, amazing, and beyond words. If we don't, then we won't. Each day, it's a choice. Thank you for listening, and God bless.